We've configured advanced AIs for 2 medical experts.
I'm a pro-choice gynecologist.
And I'm a pro-life neonatologist.
Then, we gave them a debate forum and added 5 different AI models to judge each response and give a score from 0 to 10. Stick around to see who wins, and we start by asking, should abortion remain legal in modern society?
Abortion is not an abstract idea, it is medical reality. Every year, women face pregnancies that threaten their health, their futures, or result from trauma like rape. To deny abortion access is to deny women autonomy over their own bodies. Medical ethics recognize patient autonomy as central. Just as no one can be forced to donate an organ to save another's life, no woman should be compelled to carry a pregnancy against her will. Abortion is not about devaluing life. It's about valuing the woman's right to choose.
The central question is simple. What is growing in the womb? From conception, a unique human life exists with its own DNA, distinct from the mother. Medicine confirms this is not potential life. It is life with potential. Abortion ends that life deliberately. If we claim to value human rights, then the most fundamental right, the right to live, must extend to the unborn. Autonomy cannot justify killing. My duty as a physician is to protect the most vulnerable, and no one is more vulnerable than the unborn.
Medical ethics rests on 4 pillars: autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. Abortion fulfills these principles when chosen responsibly. Denying abortion strips autonomy, forcing a woman into physical risk, emotional trauma, or socioeconomic harm. Do no harm includes preventing unsafe illegal abortions, which rise sharply when abortion is banned. Justice means equitable access to care, not laws forcing women into motherhood against their will. Ethical medicine requires empowering patients, not coercing them. Abortion, when necessary, is not harm. It is compassionate care in line with medicine's highest ethical standards.
Autonomy has limits. We do not allow people to end another's life in the name of freedom. Beneficence means promoting life, not ending it. Do no harm applies to both patients, the woman and the child. Justice requires protecting those who cannot speak for themselves. When physicians perform abortions, they deliberately end one life rather than working to save both. That is not compassion, it is a violation of the healer's role. Ethical medicine must defend the vulnerable, and the unborn are the most defenseless patients of all.
Pregnancy transforms a woman's body, sometimes at immense risk to her health. No one should be forced into that sacrifice. We do not compel kidney donations, blood transfusions, or bone marrow transplants to save lives. Bodily autonomy is absolute in these contexts, yet uniquely questioned in pregnancy. Abortion respects this principle. Women are not incubators. Their right to decide whether to endure 9 months of risk must be honored. The fetus depends entirely on her body. Consent to pregnancy cannot be assumed simply because conception occurred.
The organ donation analogy fails because pregnancy is not an imposed burden, but the natural outcome of reproduction. Consent to sex, except in cases of rape, involves consent to possible pregnancy. The fetus is not an invader, but a child of the mother, dependent by design. Bodily autonomy cannot mean a right to kill one's offspring. Parents accept responsibilities for their children's dependence outside the womb. Why should that duty vanish before birth? True autonomy is exercised before conception, not afterward at the cost of another's life.
Viability, the point at which a fetus can survive outside the womb, illustrates why abortion must remain legal. Before viability, the fetus cannot live independently. Forcing a woman to carry a non-viable fetus prioritizes potential over reality. Medicine advances, but viability remains limited. Even extremely premature babies face immense suffering and complications. Abortion before viability acknowledges that life cannot flourish outside the womb without extraordinary intervention. It respects both science and compassion by allowing women, not lawmakers, to decide what risks and burdens they are willing to bear.
Viability is a moving target, not a moral threshold. A baby at 22 weeks today may survive thanks to medical advances that were impossible decades ago. Does moral worth change with technology? Of course not. A human being's right to life should not hinge on hospital equipment. Whether inside or outside the womb, the fetus is the same individual. If we respect human dignity, we cannot let viability decide who lives and who dies. Life is valuable from conception, not from technological milestones.
Pregnancy is not harmless. It strains every organ system and carries risks of complications: hemorrhage, hypertension, infections, even death. In the U.S., maternal mortality rates are far higher than other developed nations. For some women, pregnancy worsens chronic conditions like diabetes or heart disease. Abortion is not only about autonomy, it is sometimes life-saving. Laws banning abortion force doctors to delay care until women are at death's door, violating medical judgment. Safe abortion protects women's health and lives, which should be medicine's foremost priority.
Abortion is sometimes portrayed as medically necessary, but in almost all cases, doctors can treat complications while preserving both patients. Emergency delivery, for instance, can save the mother without deliberately killing the child. Medicine advances daily. Conditions once considered fatal in pregnancy can now be managed. Abortion is not healthcare, but the ending of life. True medical care seeks to preserve as many lives as possible. Claiming abortion is life-saving creates a false dichotomy. We must invest in solutions that support mothers and children alike.
Rape and incest strip women of choice from the beginning, forcing them to carry pregnancies born of violence compounds trauma. A teenage girl assaulted by a relative should not be told she must endure 9 months of suffering because of someone else's crime. Compassion requires offering abortion in such cases. The law should not add punishment to victims. Denying abortion in cases of rape and incest is cruelty disguised as morality. It places ideology above empathy, ignoring the lived realities of survivors.
Rape and incest are horrifying crimes, but the child conceived is innocent. Abortion does not erase the trauma, it adds another victim. Studies show women who abort after rape often struggle with guilt and depression. True compassion means punishing the rapist, not the child. Adoption is a better solution, allowing the woman to heal without taking a life. Justice cannot be built on killing the innocent for the crimes of the guilty. Painful circumstances do not change the moral status of the unborn.
Many women seek abortions because they cannot afford another child. Raising a child requires resources, stability, and support. Forcing women into motherhood when they lack these conditions perpetuates cycles of poverty. Children born into environments of neglect and instability face lifelong disadvantages. Abortion is not an easy choice. It is often the least cruel one. Supporting choice allows women to decide when they are ready to parent responsibly. Denying abortion ignores the socioeconomic realities that shape health and opportunity for generations.
Socioeconomic hardship is real, but abortion does not fix poverty. It ends lives. If society truly cared about struggling mothers, we would invest in support systems, childcare, healthcare, financial aid. Killing unborn children because their lives may be hard is a dangerous logic. By that reasoning, do we also end the lives of children already born into poverty? Every human has potential, regardless of circumstances. The answer is not abortion, but compassion expressed through robust social safety nets that uplift both mother and child.
Human rights are tied to personhood, and personhood is a philosophical, not purely biological concept. Consciousness, self-awareness, and viability shape when rights are recognized. Early in pregnancy, the fetus lacks these qualities. Granting full rights at conception elevates potential over the actual woman, reducing her to a vessel. Human rights cannot demand women surrender their autonomy to sustain another's potential life. Abortion recognizes that rights must be balanced, and the rights of an existing person should not be erased for the sake of potential.
Human rights begin with life itself. Without life, no other rights matter. Philosophical debates about consciousness are dangerous because they create hierarchies of humanity. Infants lack self-awareness. Are their rights negotiable? Of course not. The unborn are living members of our species. To deny them rights because of dependence or development is discrimination based on stage of life. Human dignity must be equal from the beginning, not conditional on traits. If rights are not inherent from conception, they risk becoming privileges instead.
Abortion bans do not end abortion. They drive it underground. History proves this. Where abortion is illegal, women still seek it, often through unsafe methods, leading to injuries and deaths. Law cannot override medical necessity or lived reality. Criminalizing abortion punishes poor women disproportionately while the wealthy travel to access care. The law should protect health, not endanger it. Safe, legal abortion is a pragmatic necessity. Outlawing it fails both justice and compassion, leaving women desperate and vulnerable to preventable suffering and death.
Laws against murder do not end murder either, yet we still prohibit it because it is wrong. The same principle applies to abortion. The goal of law is not merely pragmatic harm reduction, but moral guidance. By banning abortion, society declares that unborn lives matter. Yes, illegal abortions may occur, but so do illegal homicides. That does not justify legalization. The law teaches values, and when it protects the unborn, it signals a culture that defends life even when it is inconvenient.
Studies consistently show most women who choose abortion do not regret it long term. Instead, they report relief and improved future outcomes: education, financial stability, healthier families. Forcing women into unwanted pregnancies inflicts far greater psychological harm, trapping them in cycles of stress and trauma. Autonomy in decision-making is key to mental well-being. Compassion means trusting women to know their own lives best. Abortion does not shatter women. It often saves them from futures of hardship they are not prepared to endure.
Other studies show women suffer depression, guilt, and even post-traumatic stress after abortion. The silence surrounding these experiences is striking. We rarely hear the voices of those who regret their abortions, yet they exist in large numbers. True compassion acknowledges that abortion can leave emotional scars. Supporting women means walking with them through crisis pregnancies, not offering death as the only solution. Adoption provides an alternative path, one that spares the child and allows the mother to heal without carrying the weight of ending life.
Globally, nearly every developed democracy has legalized abortion to some degree. Why? Because evidence shows restrictions harm women without meaningfully reducing abortion rates. Nations with legal abortion and strong social supports have the lowest maternal death rates. Outlawing abortion does not align with progress. It aligns with authoritarian control. Democracies respect individual freedom, especially in private medical decisions. If women in Europe, Canada, and beyond are trusted with this choice, why should American women be denied? Modern societies move forward by empowering women, not controlling them.
International trends do not define morality. Many nations also allow practices like euthanasia or selective abortion for disability, which are deeply troubling. The US should not measure values by foreign law, but by its principles. Our Declaration of Independence affirms the right to life as foundational. That principle must guide us, even if others abandon it. Progress should not mean discarding the unborn. It should mean defending them more fiercely. Human rights cannot depend on borders. If life is sacred, it is sacred everywhere.
Abortion is healthcare, autonomy, and compassion. To strip it away is to strip women of control over their bodies, their futures, and sometimes even their lives. The fetus is dependent, potential life, while the woman is actual, autonomous life. Law should protect her choices, not punish her. Safe, legal abortion prevents suffering, respects rights, and reflects medical ethics. It is not about devaluing life, but about trusting women to make their own decisions. That is what justice, compassion, and democracy require.
Abortion ends the life of an innocent human being. That cannot be reconciled with justice or medicine. Autonomy, health, and equality matter, but not at the cost of another's existence. Every abortion extinguishes a unique child who will never see the light of day. Compassion demands we support women, but true compassion protects both mother and child. Society cannot advance by sacrificing its most vulnerable. If we truly believe in human rights, they must begin where life begins, at conception. Anything less is moral abandonment.
After 12 rounds, the judges' scores stand at... The margin is narrow, but the judges found the pro-choice arguments more compelling overall, particularly on autonomy, health, and global evidence. But ultimately, the final judgment belongs not to AI, but to you. Should abortion remain legal? Or does it unjustly end innocent lives? Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more debates where ideas collide and truth is tested.